today's episode, we get to fire up the Zeforce C5 Z06. Let's look at it. Alright, so right here, I measured it out. We've got actually about 13 millimeter clearance. We could drop it down a little bit. This plate obviously can be modified if we had to. Just looking over the rest of the car, the headers may be dropped as well. So right now where they sit, see if I can bring you level. Alright, so we got the intercooler pump installed. It's sitting in there according to the instructions with just one strap. I might end up tightening it down because it does have some movement to it. It's not going anywhere because it's basically held in place by the hoses, but yeah, our hoses are tracked up there, nice and tension free. And then on the inside here, we've got the intercooler basically spaced out maybe an inch from the condenser right there, so it can still draw in air from the bottom, just like they did with the radiator, just in case for some reason these areas get clogged up, maybe with a bag or something, you're not gonna just overheat it. I didn't want to put it directly up on the air condenser. It would have had better cooling properties, but at the end of the day, you know, you're mainly just moving air through this. When the fans are on, it'll still pull plenty of air through this heat exchanger, so I'm confident that it'll still work just fine. Got our hose clamps up there. This one, I ended up heating this hole up with a torch to kind of contour it a little bit further back to try to keep this at a maintained gap all the way up. And that seems nice. It's nice and smooth on the inside edge. So this is mounted nice and rigid. Gonna end up putting the air dam back in. Yeah, we'll see what we can do. I gotta hook that harness up, so I guess that'll be the next thing. We've got some new motor mounts. We got the hinge lowering mounts in. Here is a stock one that was pulled out on another vehicle. Quick visual, it's definitely shorter. They don't have the tangs to lock them in place, but it shouldn't be an issue because they're smooth. First, we got to unbolt the factory ones. I'm going to try to squeeze them out past those headers. I got a feeling I'm going to take the headers back off, but whatever. What can you do? Gotta tell you, it doesn't look much different, but definitely fits well in the engine bay. So let's see what happens if we try to shut the hood. As you can tell, it still hits, so in those key spots. So regardless, we're still gonna have to trim it up. I think it's worth a shot. You know, it's already pretty close with the factory mounts, so I think we're gonna try and cut out a little sliver at a time and see what we can do with this hood. So that brought me down a little bit more, and right now we're about a 3/8 of an inch from this plate. Keep in mind you have a raised section here, so That comes up just a little bit, but we've got plenty of clearance in there. So an important area to consider when you're dropping your engine. Oil pan still does sit above the cradle. The only exception is the drain plug. And it's really not too bad. That's going to be the first thing to take a hit, so no driving over bricks. So I had to swap from this traditional LS6 style single port PCV valve cover to one with the traditional dual PCV valve ports on it. One here, one over here. Because we had to eliminate the LS6 valley cover, we're going to need the standard LS1 style valve covers. I had to pick these up used. All the parts are discontinued. If you order something from a parts counter, they'll usually give you the wrong one. So just if you go online, search and make sure you have the two breather boxes here and the two ports on the valve covers to get this done. So you absolutely need to get one of these. They're probably going to get harder and harder to find, as weird as that sounds for a C5. But yeah, that's what we're up against. So let me get this installed. Well, 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 she is plumbed up. Got the injectors in, all the coolant lines are run. This area's a little cramped back there, but it'll get the job done. There we go. Fully plumbed on the passenger side. Yeah, besides getting it to fit with this hood, you know, that's the only thing I got to do so far. So let's see what we can do. There we go, first start. Keep in mind this is untuned as well. So 60-pound injectors. She's running. I don't have coolant in it, so I'm going to shut it off real quick. She's running, nice and quiet. You know, struggling to find an idle because it's actually quite a bit has changed. But yeah, I think now we're gonna have to get this thing tuned. Already did a leak down test on the coolant. We are good on that since we had to splice into a bunch of different spots. So I can't run this right now because the block doesn't have any coolant in it. But you know, we'll get some coolant in it tomorrow, get some Dex Cool, and we will be back at it.